So interesting. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Courtney Godfrey. Welcome to Fox 9 All Day. We've got plenty of news here for you today, so let's jump in. Minneapolis leaders are ramping up efforts to crack down on drug-related crime. Mayor Jacob Frey announced this afternoon that they will be expanding drug enforcement, including more targeted investigations and stronger coordination between police and community partners. City leaders say the goal is to disrupt drug trafficking, improve public safety, and address neighborhoods hit hardest by drug activity, where connecting people struggling with addiction to resources. This comes on the heels of federal and local leaders this week announcing the arrest of 25 individuals linked to drug trafficking gangs. And the Department of Homeland Security is criticizing Governor Tim Walz after Minnesota's Clemency Review Board granted a pardon to a man convicted of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl in 2006. DHS says the pardon could complicate efforts to deport the man, who was previously slated for removal from the U.S. It's unclear what federal action, if any, will happen next. And a beloved downtown Milwaukee mural honoring Giannis Antetokounmpo is looking like itself again after vandals spray painted the three-story piece of art just days after the Bucks traded the superstar to the Miami Heat. The mural's original artist returned to repair the damage, restoring a fan favorite that has become a gathering place since the news that Giannis was going to be traded. And big news last night from the men's soccer team. After a 2-0 win over Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32, the U.S. men's national team is moving on in the World Cup. The Americans pulled it off despite playing the final half with only 10 guys after one of the players was shown a red card. It's the U.S.'s first World Cup knockout stage victory since 2002, and they'll face Belgium next in the round of 16 on Monday. An exciting game. Kara Savage, my producer, joins me now. I know you were watching, Kara.
Yeah, I watched last night. And you did too.
I watched. My kid was loving it. You know, he's like most American kids. He plays soccer recreationally. And just fun for him to see these guys playing at this level. But what was amazing is, Bosnia is an underdog. They weren't, they were going to be a matchup according to what I was reading and what our sports reporters were saying. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to be an easy game. But then the Americans pulled it off, playing one man down for the last half hour of the game. I mean, just pretty impressive.
I mean, I don't know much about soccer, and I was at a bar watching this, so I had a lot of people around me explaining exactly what was going on with the red card. And then I was into it. But I just can't believe that over that it was like, all right, now we're down a person the whole game.
I know.
I'm not a huge soccer fan.
You know what? I equated it to win in hockey. I don't know a lot about hockey or soccer. They're like the two sports that I know the least about. But in hockey, when they pull a guy, right, don't they pull the goalie sometimes?
So that's usually their own decision. They pull a goalie maybe if they're, let's say you're losing to a team 4-0 and you're like, all right, we've got nothing to lose here. They can pull a goalie and then put another person out.
Yeah, okay. It was very similar to me in that.
So, and still the same amount of guys on the ice, though.
Did you see this penalty kick? It was incredible.
Oh my gosh. It was insane. And people around me were like, I've never seen that actually go in.
Amazing.
So,
it was almost like it bounced off the guy's head. It was just incredible. I mean, I don't know how he hooked it the way he did to get past the line of guys.
Right.
These people are incredible athletes.
It's incredible. Yeah, I mean, it was a really fun game to watch. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I'm going to watch again on Monday.
4th of July this weekend. Carrie, you got big plans?
Not huge plans. I'm not going on a boat, so I feel like that kind of
wah wah
wah wah. But gonna have a hot dog and a drink of beer probably.
Yeah.
And so
enjoy it. I mean, around here, a lot of people go to the cabin. That's not what I'm doing. I'm staying local.
Yeah.
We will be out on a boat, but
oh yeah.
The big dilemma for us with kids our age is, do you let the kids stay up to watch the fireworks. It feels un-American to make them go to bed, but
I feel like you have to let them stay up, like at least just a little bit.
the problem, Kara, is that you pay for it the next day. Like
That's true.
It doesn't
I don't
get
understand
dark.
that,
It doesn't
so.
get dark here until like 10 o'clock. So the fireworks go off at 10. That is late for little kids. So
Right.
But like I said, then you feel un-American for not letting your kids watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. So
Yeah.
check in with me on Monday.
I remember not being able to stay up for the fireworks, and because my older sister could. It was just evil.
Your little sister got to stay
My older
up.
sister could.
Okay,
sorry.
I'm like, your little
My
sister.
older sister could stay up, and like the older neighbors could
Yeah.
stay up, but I had to go to bed.
It's kind of the way it goes sometimes. Talk
Yep.
to me on Monday. Find out what I did.
Okay.
All right, we've got a full show for you here today. Just in a little bit, we are going to have someone on to talk about fireworks safety. They're out of Wisconsin, where obviously aerial fireworks are illegal. So they're going to have a lot of good tips about using fireworks around those kids. We're also going to talk about that big U.S. men's team win last night with our sports reporter, Pierre Nugent, and a whole lot more is on the docket. So we hope you'll stay with us. We're going to take a quick break after this. Welcome back. Well, whether it's a pool or a lake, plenty of people are going to be seeking out large bodies of water this weekend as we all celebrate the 4th of July holiday. The city of St. Paul is highlighting the importance of water safety today. They held a press conference earlier. Let's take a listen. What should I do? What are we going to do? That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. All right. It does appear that we are having some audio issues with that clip, but what those officials were talking about is having an adult spotter at all times. They want to remind everyone that no open body of water is ever safe and that there should always be a designated set of eyes on children, no matter their age. Drownings, of course, are the #1 killer of children under the age of 5 in the U.S. So this is a warning that a lot of people are echoing today as a lot of people head out on the water. They also wanted to remind everyone that if you're heading on a boat this weekend, it is Minnesota state law that you put a life jacket on a child that's under the age of 10 years old. They also warned about going to bodies of water that do not have a lifeguard on duty, and to make sure that any child who is not a strong swimmer wears some kind of a swimming device, but that a swimming device is not a guarantee, that even wearing a life jacket could be a risk. So on that note, after we talk about water safety, we wanted to talk about fireworks safety. You know, a lot of people are going to be letting off fireworks. Fireworks are a big part of the celebration on 4th of July, but they can also send people to the hospital. Thousands are sent to the hospital every year due to firework injuries here in the U.S. To help families understand how they can celebrate safely this weekend, we bring in Libby Slavin with the Safe Kids Wisconsin organization. Libby, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Courtney.
So what are the biggest mistakes that you see families make on the 4th of July weekend when it comes to fireworks?
I'll be honest, it's putting the fireworks on themselves. My biggest recommendation is leaning into the professionals. They have been trained. They have all of the safety precautions in place. So leaning into those professional fireworks displays is really key in terms of keeping our children safe.
You know, I get it. I know, professional displays are the best, but we know that plenty of people buy home fireworks. The stands are all over the state of Wisconsin right now. You can buy them pretty much at every freeway exit. So if someone, is going to use backyard fireworks, is there ever a safe age for kids to use them?
There really isn't. The real big concern is that fireworks are just very unpredictable. You never know which direction they're going to go off, if they're not going to go off at all. It's really, really the unpredictability that fireworks, have with them. And unfortunately, there really isn't a safe age that is recommended for anyone to be igniting those, just because of that unpredictability. Even with the sparklers can get up to 2,000 degrees. That's enough to burn metal. So we've actually seen from 2024 to 2025, emergency room visits, increased 85% from sparklers. So we're definitely seeing an increase in sparkler injuries too. I think sometimes caregivers think that those are the safer option, and really we're seeing a lot of burns and serious damage from even just sparklers.
Yeah, you mentioned it there, but an estimated 14,700 people were treated in U.S. emergency rooms for firework injuries just in 2024. By the way, that was a 52% increase from 2023. If parents only remember a few safety tips when it comes to fireworks, what would they be?
Again, I can't stress it enough, is just really leaning into the professionals to do those displays. They've got the training, they've definitely got the safety precautions in place. That's really the biggest thing. Supervision is another big piece, making sure that, parents are watching so the kids aren't running up and, getting into danger if somebody, else is putting on fireworks, that kind of thing. But ultimately, really, lean into those professionals. There's amazing displays out there. Check them out in your local communities to see who's hosting them. And just keep a watch on your kids.
Yeah. What should you do if a firework doesn't go off? I mean, should you try and relight it?
No, definitely not. We don't want you relighting those fireworks. Just leave it be, right? Like let it go out. Don't go back up to it. Let it fully burn out, and then just leave it off to the side. Definitely giving it some time so that oftentimes I think we assume that they're not going to go off, and then at the very last minute they happen to ignite, and that's something that often is a cause of injuries as well. So just leave it be. don't approach it in any means.
What's the most common injury that you see with fireworks?
Burns. It's definitely burns. We see a lot of hands. This past year, within our own organization, we definitely saw some eye injuries, likely to that, unpredictability, not knowing what direction they're going to go off. And potentially, like you had asked, do you walk up to it if it doesn't go off? No, do not. So it's a lot of burns to the hands and face.
So what's your advice for parents who want the fun of the 4th of July? They want their kids, to have a good time, and their neighbors are setting them off, their friends are setting them off. What's your advice for parents when their kids say, well, Mom, why can't we do that? Everybody else is doing it.
Sure, absolutely. I hear it in my house all the time. You know what? We know better. We want to keep our children safe. That's our number one goal as parents and caregivers. There's a lot of fun things you can do. Like I said, looking to see what the community displays are. There's also glow sticks, in place with sparklers. Glow sticks are amazing. Even adults enjoy, love seeing them. There's also glow in the dark bubbles. That's another fun option for kids to get involved with, and, something to do late at night. And then drone shows are another thing that we're seeing pop up in different areas. That might be a safer option as well. So leaning into those different things that are a little bit safer. The kids are definitely enthralled with glow sticks and bubbles, all the things. So those are some good alternatives.
In Wisconsin, aerial fireworks are legal. Has there been a push to pull that back at all because of the injuries associated with at-home fireworks?
I can't speak to the laws specifically in terms of what any kind of adjustments that have been explored have been. But I definitely know it's important to check those local ordinances as well. Sometimes those ordinances can be a little bit more stringent as well than state laws.
What about the risk of fire? I mean, is there, is it safer to let off a firework on the cement than it is in the grass? Are there conditions that you need to consider?
That's a really good question. That's why we always encourage the professionals to be doing them, because of the unpredictability. You don't know where those sparks and that kind of thing are going to fly. They could end up on a roof. They could end up in a tree. And depending on the fire hazard at the time, certainly, we have seen even professional displays have been canceled in the past due to fire hazard and that kind of thing. So, it's really hard to predict that. And it's, in terms of knowing where those sparks are going to end up flying. So again, with having the professionals doing the displays, they have safety precautions in place. They have, the fire equipment right there that should there be a fire that should start.
Okay, wonderful advice. Anything else you'd like parents to know ahead of the 4th of July weekend?
It really still can be a safe and fun holiday, just pulling in some of those safer alternatives. And like I said, just find out where those local displays are that the professionals are putting on. They're trained, they've got the safety equipment in place. And, it's just a really fun thing. And I'm certain, I know as a child, I loved watching the professional displays. So definitely a great alternative to doing your own fireworks.
All right, great. Libby Slavin with Safe Kids Wisconsin. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Right. And Libby's message, of course, is do not use at-home fireworks. They are never considered safe. Aerial fireworks are illegal here in Minnesota. They are legal to buy in Wisconsin, though. Good message from Libby heading into the 4th of July holiday as many people look to put on their own fireworks displays in the backyard. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back after this. As we look ahead to the 4th of July holiday, many people are heading up to the cabin or maybe just to enjoy some time up north by the lake. Hotel, lodges, they're all probably fully booked at this point. Lauren Andrigo has a look at what your cabin traffic is going to look like this weekend.
Headed out of town rather than to work. Here's a look at Albertville, 94 at milepost 200. This is northbound traffic, slowing down just a little bit through this construction zone. One of those spots that will slow down throughout the weekend, and then on Sunday, it'll be these southbound lanes, folks headed back into the Twin Cities. So let's talk about timing up your drive wherever you're headed. AAA said we could see records broken this week in terms of car travel and air travel this weekend. Thursday, today, 2 to 6 p.m. is when they say is the worst time to step out the door. So if we're in that range right now, might want to wait until after 6 p.m. to step out the door. Tomorrow we'll be traveling all day long. If you can get an early edge and get out before 11 a.m., you might miss some of that midday traffic. And then they predict things will be busy in and out of the Twin Cities and every metro area until about 7 p.m. tomorrow. Saturday, of course, all the fireworks shows will be going on throughout the weekend, but Saturday is the 4th of July. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is going to be your busiest travel time. After 3 p.m. is what AAA suggests you do for Saturday travel. And then Sunday, you can really expect everyone coming home. We have that going to your destination travel spread out over a couple of days. Everyone's headed home on Sunday, 12 to 6 p.m. You can expect busier than usual drive times. Let's talk about gas prices. We've been seeing prices steadily decrease over the last 5 weeks. Our national average now sitting at $3.83, which is about 75 cents cheaper than it was a month ago, getting us closer to that national average from a year ago. Right now, around 4th of July 2025, we were looking at $3.20 as our national average. Across the state of Minnesota, $3.64 is your state average. As you head out of the Twin Cities, you can see prices closer to $3.50, $3.40, even $3.30 in some places. Wisconsin sitting at about $3.60. Let's talk about some of those projects you might encounter as you head out of town or maybe into town. St. Paul has quite a few fireworks shows going on at the St. CHS Field Friday and Saturday, and the Cathedral putting on their fireworks show for the first time in over a decade. If 35E is your route in or out of St. Paul throughout the weekend, you'll notice lane closures overnight and a lot of active work going on Friday. Even if there aren't crews out, though, it is a construction zone. You have to abide by those construction zone rules, and fines for speeding double in those orange cone zones. Currently, crews are building a temporary embankment over Shepherd Road. This is just south of downtown. That is why Shepherd Road has been closed for the last couple of months. They built this so that crews can tear down the 35E bridge over Shepherd. That's going to be replaced over the next year. So soon enough, we'll see traffic move over to this temporary embankment, which means we won't need any shutdowns of 35E, but you will notice slower than usual traffic in both directions, and at some point, just one lane both ways. Starting next week, big changes are coming to Minneapolis. 394 specifically, we currently have 2 lanes headed westbound in our HOV lanes, 3 lanes in the eastbound direction. That is all about to shift. Westbound will return to those 3 westbound lanes. We'll open up quite a few more ramps here in and out of downtown Minneapolis. But eastbound traffic, folks headed from the St. Louis Park and Golden Valley area toward Minneapolis, will be down to 2 lanes through Thanksgiving. That is going to make for some slow-moving traffic during our morning commutes and especially event congestion in and out of the west side of downtown. We're going to lose a couple of ramps too, namely 394 East to 94 North shutting down through Thanksgiving. And then in the St. Louis Park area, both of our ramps from Highway 100 to 394 East will close through Thanksgiving. These are big ramps that get some St. Louis Park traffic toward Minneapolis. Xenia, Park Place are both good ramps you can use. Otherwise, you will want to use navigation over the first couple of days to map out your new route. Again, active construction here through Thanksgiving. You can expect delays headed in and out of Minneapolis this weekend and a lot of active road work next week. Back to you. Hey, good afternoon. Happy Thursday, friends. The holiday traffic has already begun here.
Okay, we're still hearing Lauren. All right, back to me, not back to Lauren. All right, Lauren, thank you so much for that traffic update. Lots of people traveling. Bottom line there is tomorrow, pretty much all day, is going to be busy if you are hitting the road and traveling for this 4th of July holiday. Also, tonight is going to be really busy as well. So if you already got out the door, good on you. You're ahead of the rush. We are going to take a quick break. After this, though, we are going to talk 4th of July festivities happening in St. Paul, especially at CHS Field with the Saints. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Well, from baseball to barbecue to a spectacular fireworks show, CHS Field is once again one of the biggest 4th of July destinations in the Twin Cities. Here to talk all about it is Zane Hinselman with the Saints. Thanks for joining us, Zane.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me today.
I know you're busy as the general manager of the team, so we sure appreciate it. Tell me what you guys got on tap. You've got a barbecue, fireworks. What's going on this weekend?
Well, this weekend in the baseball world is as busy as it gets in terms of people trying to get out and enjoy their holiday weekend. And with America 250 this weekend, we have a lot going on. I think tonight it starts out with a game at 7:07 as we're working with the Minnesota Military and Veterans Museum, which opens in September, and it's we're trying to remember one of the Minnesota's most extraordinary contributions to the U.S., which is their sacrifice of the 1st Minnesota Infantry Regiment in the Battle of Gettysburg. It's actually 163 years to the day today, July 2nd, 1863. So we'll have a reenactment ceremony celebrating the 1st Minnesota in the Civil War, as well as First Responders Night. So if you're a first responder, you can actually get into the game tonight for free. And then the next 2 nights, we have a lot going on with baseball, super fireworks show, food trucks on the field. It's kind of a full event, full evenings at CHS Field, hopefully for folks the next few nights.
Well, you just mentioned it, but you guys have been doing a lot of patriotic themed nights throughout the week. This all started on June 30th, and you're going to go through the 5th as you have a homestand here. So tell me why you guys decided to make this like a week-long thing.
Well, it's again, A250 is a big celebration across our nation, and for us as the Saints, we try to represent what our community cares about and what our community tries to celebrate over the 4th of July weekend. And this year it felt a little different with A250, and that's why each night we're trying to bring something different to the table and what we're celebrating. And it's a lot of fun to bring veterans to the ballpark and really bring our community together to celebrate baseball, celebrate America this weekend.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you're able to do that. Is this something that you've done before, or would you say this is the biggest, longest running 4th of July celebration you guys have done?
Yeah, it's kind of a tradition in St. Paul that we do something over the 4th of July weekend. It so happens that 4th of July is on a Saturday, so it gives us an opportunity to do it maybe for a little longer than some years. But I think most specifically, we're excited of the different layers we're able to bring each night. Tonight being the reenactment. I know tomorrow night we're working with the National Guard to have some enrollment folks out at the ballpark, and then Saturday night we'll actually we'll have the players come onto the field in World War II vehicles. We'll have veterans standing down the line with the players as they're introduced for the game, and so it'll just be a really fun celebration again this weekend.
Wow, sounds absolutely incredible. Besides all those amazing things, there's also an all-you-can-eat barbecue, which is important to mention because with the 4th of July, everybody wants food and barbecued items. Talk to me about that.
Well, yeah, that's if you're staying at home grilling out, it's probably what you might be doing at home, but I think we do it pretty big and better at CHS Field. Not very often do you get that type of barbecue, food, drinks, baseball, again, food trucks on the field after the game tomorrow night, as well as Saturday night, and then huge fireworks shows starting tonight after the game, tomorrow night after the game, and Saturday too.
Amazing. Baseball is America's pastime. Does that put a little more pressure on you to make sure you really do it up and honor our country?
Baseball has definitely made that a priority in the past, and again, 4th of July being a momentous occasion each year, kind of puts the pressure to execute on it really well. And I think it just fits really well. We got such a great team this year too, that they're fun to watch on the field. Our fans have been having a lot of fun with some of the promotions this year, and this weekend will just add to what we've been able to do this year, and hopefully we'll carry it out the rest of the season too.
Yeah, in the next hour we're going to have one of your biggest stars, Walker Jenkins, on, so we're excited about that. We want our viewers to stick around for that one. But I should mention that this is all happening at CHS Field at the same time that St. Paul is bringing back its 4th of July fireworks display for the first time in a decade. You guys were the only 4th of July fireworks that I know about in St. Paul for at least a decade because the city got rid of their display. Now that the city's display is back, how does that coincide with what you guys have planned?
Well, they're kind of two separate events, but it's bringing more to St. Paul, which we always love with the Saints. I think the city is doing the fireworks show up at Cathedral Hill around dusk time. That might be around the same time. We might be a little later than that, depending on the game time. But the more people celebrating in St. Paul, we think the better. And it'll certainly be a busy nights at the ballpark again, starting tonight, tomorrow night, and Saturday as well.
And you said first responders get into the game for free tonight. What do those individuals need to do in order to take advantage of that?
All they need to go is if they go to our website, saintsbaseball.com, and under our tickets page, there's a link to redeem the free ticket with the identification on there, and then they can purchase additional tickets to the game. But first responders are so important to our communities, and I feel like it makes sense for them to be a part of what's special about America and what's special about first responders in the Twin Cities community.
And what about the Gettysburg reenactment tonight? If I want to attend that, do I have to buy tickets?
Yeah, buy tickets to the game. They'll actually be doing it on the field right before first pitch, so it kind of be a unique opportunity to watch it right before the game. They'll stay after the reenactment to talk with folks about again the history of Minnesota playing having an impact on military in the United States and. Again, 163 years to the date. It's kind of a unique way to honor and celebrate Minnesotans' impact, and so unique to get at a baseball game. But we're happy to work with the museum that's opening up in September to put that on.
You know, I have to give you guys some credit. The Saints do such a good job of involving the fans and creating an entertainment experience beyond just the incredible baseball that you get to watch. How do you guys do it?
Good question. I don't know how long you want to talk about it, but it's layers. It's layers to everything we try to do. We know that if we're entertaining people while at CHS Field, they're way more likely to come. They're way more likely to tell someone it was a fun time at CHS Field. And so the more layers we can add to the experience, the better chance we have of having them back at the ballpark. Last night we had a 5K, a 0K. We had a barber giving haircuts at the ballpark. We had people doing permanent jewelry. We had a baseball game. We try to add so many layers to the experience because we know baseball might not be for everyone. Caring about who wins and loses might not be for everyone. But if someone has fun at the ballpark, we hope they'll be Saints fans and come down to downtown St. Paul.
Yeah, the haircuts in the stands are my favorite. What's a 0K, by the way?
It is so you start and then you walk across the finish line and you complete a 0K. So you can say you were part of a race, even if you're not a runner. So that's a Saints style event. And if you didn't want to take part in the 5K, you could still get a medal for completing the 0K and in a record time.
That is it must be so fun to work over there, Zane. I appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
The Saints and CHS Field, their 4th of July celebrations have been going on all week, and they will continue through July 5th. More information is on the Saints website. I want to bring in my producer, Kara Savage, because Kara, this is hilarious. Okay, the city of Chaska today put on their Facebook, or yesterday they put on their Facebook, kind of the when you should call 911. And when you shouldn't. And it had us rolling in the newsroom because some of these are incredible. They give you like, here's when you should call, here's when you shouldn't call. And Kara's gonna pull it up for us. I know, I'm trying to pull it up myself too so that I can read it because my eyes aren't good. I'm not gonna be able to read it on the screen. Here we go. Okay, so according to the Chaska Police Department, when you should not call the police on 4th of July, when children are using sparklers, when your wife can't sleep, when you see fireworks down the street, when your ferret is scared. Who has a ferret, by the way?
What is a ferret?
A ferret is like a rodent. And I don't know if they're legal to have them as pets in Minnesota. So we'll double check on that.
So honestly, maybe you should be calling the police then.
Right. The neighbor's dog just got into my chicken coop that I definitely have licensed with the city. My drunk uncle is talking politics, and you woke up the sleeping firefighters with your fireworks. Those are all no-nos. Do not call 911 when those happen. And by the way, I know this from interviewing law enforcement throughout the years. Please don't call 911 and report people letting off illegal fireworks. It is a waste of the dispatcher's time. They're going off everywhere. They just can't keep up with all the calls. They are not going to show up and ticket those people. They have real emergencies to attend to. So the dispatchers do not want you to call and report fireworks displays in your neighborhood. Put some earplugs in, I think would be their best advice. But Chaska Police says they do think you should call when children are using dynamite at the park. Yeah, that sounds dangerous. Richard's finger landed in my yard. Yeah, Richard might need some EMS care there. My wife won't wake up.
This one's a little dark.
This one is a little dark, but definitely you should be calling 911 if your wife is not waking up, if that wasn't obvious already. The fireworks down the street lit Betty's house on fire. Yeah, definitely call 911 on that one. Terry didn't back it up in time, and we can't find his other eye. That's in reference to a viral video that went that was circulating on social media several years ago and continues to circulate today. So,
oh, I did not get that until just now.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And then my drunk uncle is now fighting my drunk neighbor about politics. So don't call the police if your drunk uncle is talking politics, but do call the police if your drunk uncle is now fighting my drunk neighbor about politics. Kara, these were so creative. And then I, of course, read the comments.
Oh my gosh, yes.
People are loving this.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the comments, that's it. I'm moving to Chaska.
Fair enough.
What if the ferret is shooting the fireworks? Some people.
That's a good point.
Please give a raise and 2 days PTO to whoever came up with this.
I agree.
I agree. Whoever their social media manager is over at Chaska Police, kudos. Kudos.
Yeah, and I hope you have the holiday off.
Probably not.
No.
Law enforcement officials don't get the day off.
No, of course
And that's
not.
why they want you, and it's all in jest, but they want people to understand, like, look, we know fireworks are annoying, we know that everybody's drunk and fighting, but there are certain things that are just a waste of our time on a busy night. They're probably short-staffed. They have real emergencies to get to. So while this is joking, they really do want you to be mindful of what exactly warrants a 911 call.
And there is a non-emergency number in most cities, so keep that in mind.
That is a great reminder, Kara. But kudos to the Chaska Police Department. This one had us cracking up, so love it. While we continue to talk 4th of July and 4th of July safety this afternoon, we are going to do that, but we're going to take a quick break.
Yes.
So stay with us. Welcome back. Well, after a 2-0 win over Bosnia and Herzegovina in the round of 32, the U.S. men's soccer team is moving on in the World Cup. Our soccer expert, Pierre Nugent, joins me now. Is that okay if I call you that, soccer expert?
I guess. I don't know if I'd take it that far, but I appreciate the honor anyway.
Okay. Okay. Big game last night. Exciting game to watch. Bosnia. They were not easy to beat.
No.
They were definitely a contender in this. But I got to talk to you about this because I find this fascinating. The Americans pulled it off despite playing with one less guy on the field for the last half an hour.
They did, and it was a kind of a controversial decision as well, as Flo Balogun was sent off on a red card, and I know VAR has come under scrutiny. And VAR, for people who don't know what that means, that is the video assist review. It helps you look back and check on certain plays whether if was it deemed a red card foul. So it was a controversial decision. And the reason why it was controversial was because you saw two guys going for the ball at the same time. It didn't look like an unnatural motion, and it didn't look like a deliberate and intentional foul on the part of Flo Balogun. But when you're reviewing these things, Court, in slow motion as opposed to allowing time, it perhaps makes it look worse than it may have been. And in this case, it's a red card for Flo Balogun. Not only was he ejected, he is going to miss the next because of this.
Okay, your audio's cutting out a little bit. Hopefully we recover and we'll be able to hear you because we want to keep talking about this. What I want to know is, because he got a red card, can he play then on Monday against Belgium?
He cannot. No, he will be suspended for Monday's match against Belgium, and that's really unfortunate for the United States because he is their top goal-scoring threat, Courtney. He's their best goal scorer, and when you take your best goal scorer off the field, you leave yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage. And this is going to be disastrous for the United States, but there are reinforcements like Ricardo Pepi and Tim Weah who have experience playing in that position that perhaps could help help the team still be productive, especially when it comes to goal scoring production. So it's not like this is something that should absolutely devastate the United States to the point where they absolutely cannot win the match on Monday, because they can. They still can win that match without Flo Balogun. It's just going to be a little bit extra of a challenge.
Okay, so it's interesting to me because I'm reading that he's the 5th American to receive a red card at a World Cup and is the first player from any country to score and receive a red card in the same knockout game since a France player did it in 2006.
Not just any France player, Zinedine Zidane, who was, in my opinion, the best player in that era. And that was a massive moment. I still remember that World Cup final to this day, France and Italy back in 2006. Yeah, it was wild.
And a one-game suspension is the minimum for a red card at a World Cup. And the U.S. cannot appeal that sanction. Why? Why can't they appeal, especially because there's so much controversy around it?
There's no rule in place currently to allow you to go through an appeal in this instance. A lot of people want to, I should say, FIFA and the governing body, I don't think want to have to go through a process every time where there's a red card a team is going to try to appeal, because I think they want to let the referee's decision stand on the field. So even though VAR had a role in this, I think my issue is more with VAR than a lack of an appeals process. Because again, when you look at that play, it's very different when it happens in real time as opposed to a referee looking at it in slow motion, and that makes it look worse, because then if you're looking at it in slow motion, it leaves open to interpretation of intent and potential maliciousness on the part of Flo Balogun on that play. And I don't think that there was any intent or malicious action in that instance. It looks worse in slow motion than I think what it was in real time. And unfortunately, the referee determined that it was a hostile act, and that's why the red card came out.
Okay, we got to talk about Malik Tillman's free kick. That was something. The way that he hooked that ball in, I'm like, okay, you know what? I wasn't a big soccer fan before. Now I've got mad respect.
I am gonna look this up actually because I retweeted this, and I want to give credit to whoever retweeted because I found this to be fascinating. It's an account called Medspiration, and it has a scientific blow by blow execution in terms of breaking down the numbers and the science of what Malik Tillman was able to do on that free kick. And it's absolutely fascinating how he was able to bend the ball and put the right amount of spin to get over the Bosnian wall into the back of the net. It was simply sensational, a world-class strike from Malik Tillman. And it came at a perfect time, too, because the U.S. Courtney was still holding on to that 1-0 lead. And like you said, they were playing down a man. But in the 82nd minute, when you get a golden opportunity like that outside of the box and you're able to cash in, you put the game on ice. And that's exactly what Malik Tillman was able to do. A world-class strike on his part. That's certainly a goal that's going to be remembered in U.S. World Cup history for a long, long time.
Yeah, just incredible. They play Belgium on Monday here on Fox 9. You can watch that. What time is the game? 7 p.m. probably?
I believe it's a 7 o'clock start, yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Wild quick before I let you go, because there has been a lot of action in St. Paul.
There has been.
My goodness. Fill us in.
Yeah, not only, Nick Foligno, the brother of Marcus Foligno, is back on a 1-year contract, but the bigger news on the day is a big trade happening between Minnesota and Calgary. The Wild are trading defenseman Jake Middleton and a 3rd-round pick to Calgary in exchange for a couple of veteran players in this league. Oli Mata, defenseman, forward Blake Coleman. These two guys, Blake Coleman's 34, Oli Mata's 31. So like I said, veterans in this league. And this seems like a move to me for Minnesota to add depth. And guys who have been through it in this league, have plenty of experience in this league, can help you kill penalties, can score when you need them to score. Blake Coleman, 20 goals last year for Blake Coleman playing in Calgary. But I like the move. Personally, I know Jake Middleton is a tough-nosed defenseman, but he struggled at times in the playoffs. He did. And I think this is where Bill Guerin was looking around to see how can I just upgrade my roster just a little bit more and to get a couple of veterans at what I think is a pretty fair price. I think this is a good move for Bill Guerin and company. I think the Wild are going to be happy with their return.
What about the move to get rid of Zuccarello? How do you feel about that?
But listen, I know that he's still very productive, absolutely productive. He plays great on the line with Kirill Kaprizov, and the two of them together seem to have great chemistry, and I still think there's good hockey left in him. However, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to double check this, but I believe Matt Zuccarello is 38.
That's correct.
If I'm not mistaken. He's 38 years old.
Yeah.
And even though he had, a productive year when he wasn't hurt for Minnesota last year, from my perspective, if I'm running a team, I would rather be a year early on a guy than a year too late. And if I have to give him up at 38, and listen, if he comes back for another season at age 38 and he has a dip in production, I guess I cashed out at the right time. If he has one good year, okay, I guess I could live with that. But yeah, I know Matt Zuccarello, there's no question what he was able to contribute and do here in his time in Minnesota, and he's always going to be remembered very fondly. But I don't think this is the end of the world, in my opinion, for Minnesota. Yes, the goal-scoring production is going to have to come from somewhere else. But, Matt Boldy's also a guy who is coming into his own, had a 40-goal season last year. So we'll see how, head coach John Hines wants to tinker the lineup and move guys up and down the line. But Matt Zuccarello will be missed. But at the same time, this is business, and I don't think this is the end of the world for Minnesota.
Okay, really quick. What are the odds of LeBron James coming to the Timberwolves?
There's always a 0.1 chance. I'm going to put it at 0.1. I think it was reported yesterday that he's narrowed his choices between Cleveland and Golden State, which is interesting to me because if Cleveland stays intact the way that they are, I'm not sure how he really fits on that team right now. I think he fits perfectly with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I really do.
Listen,
I think he would
a
perfect fit.
I had to chuckle when Governor Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, tweeted at him saying, "Hey, it's a great place to live, King James."
Yeah.
It's like, shoot your shot, Governor, shoot your shot.
I mean, this very well could be LeBron James's final season in the NBA, so I know he probably would want to spend it in an area of the country maybe where he could still, get out and run from the months of November to May. But at the same time, I think Minnesota's got a better shot of winning an NBA title with him on the roster than Cleveland and Golden State. I really do. So if he's serious about winning an NBA title, I think Minnesota has more to offer than those other two teams. I know Golden State's got Steph Curry, but that's also a team that is aging a lot. I mean, they're long in the tooth, and they're going to be, even older if they add LeBron James. I think Minnesota's got a great combination of youth and veteran leadership, and I think adding him would just elevate this squad a little bit more, and he's needed. The Wolves need a guy like him on the roster. They need a guy like him. So I think it would be a great fit. I just don't think I don't think it's going to work out.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, but listen, the longer this goes on, why not dream?
Why not dream?
Until he makes a decision, why not?
I love it. And we just put it out there, so maybe it'll help. All right.
Why not?
Pierre Nugent, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, but I'm excited for these next guests. We get to welcome in one of my kids' favorite local music groups, the Jolly Pops. They're a group of dads who are creating family-friendly music, and they're touring the communities across Minnesota and the Midwest this summer. We're going to hear all about it after this break. Welcome back. Well, they coined themselves as Minnesota's Happy Dads as they bring interactive fun and music to communities across the Midwest with their catchy songs and infectious dance moves. They're a big hit with my kids. I have proof. This past weekend, we got to take in the Jolly Pops in Minnetonka, and I think we have video of Frankie enjoying the Jolly Pops right here. Here, she's gonna be up on screen in just a minute. She's a big fan of the Jolly Pops. There she is. Yeah, Frankie's getting down. There she is. Oh Dear is the name of that song. That's a fave. I am so excited to have Mr. Billy of the Jolly Pops in studio now. Billy, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, my kids are a big fan, as I mentioned. Just got to see you guys in Minnetonka. You're actually on tour. You just finished up a big library tour where you were visiting libraries across the state. Now you are all over the Midwest, several days a week. Talk to me about tour life.
Well, that's a concentrated thing that we get to do, which is a lot of fun. A library region, there's 12 of them throughout Minnesota. Sometimes will hire us in bulk. So we were up near the Boundary Waters, Duluth, and way up in International Falls and places like that. And we got to hop to 25 different libraries. We did it in 2 weeks too, so Mr. Billy's a little tired. But I'm excited for the rest of the summer, which is chock full of gigs, and a lot of them around the Twin Cities.
So you have always played music. You used to tour with a rock band.
I did.
Talk to me about your history and how you got into this. How do you go from rock band to catchy kids songs?
Well, it was a little bit by accident. I was winding down my minor league rock career and wondering what to do next. And as it happened, the preschool music teacher at my now 17-year-old left. And I knew the people well, and I said, "Are you going to hire someone new?" And they said, "Probably next year." And I said, "Well, can I try it?" And I did. I did it there for 3 years, and then realized that it was both a lot of fun and I was pretty good at it. And now and when I moved here to Minnesota 10 years ago with my Minnesota-born wife, I decided to make a real go of it.
What do you like better, touring with the rock band or touring with the dads?
It's hard to remember back that far. The touring with the dads is just a lot of fun. I don't know what to tell you. I know I kind of fell into it by accident, but I just feel like as much as I enjoyed playing, adult rock and roll, the kids is really where I found my home. And it's sort of strange to put the two side by side. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but I love what I do now, even more than what I used to do.
I know your kids are grown now. You've been doing the Jolly Pops for about a decade. How did becoming a dad change the way you look at music?
It's interesting because it's not something, playing music for kids is not something I aspired to or really imagined I would do. But when I started doing it, it became infectious not only for me but for my kids. And it started when I would just sort of make up silly songs with them, like we all do. And then I had a little digital audio workstation downstairs and put together some of the early songs and started feeding them out to people, and they're like, "This is good." In fact, one of the things that I pride myself on, Courtney, is someone like you can come to the concert and have as good a time as their kid, and that's not an accident. So when I was starting to write stuff, I found that it was, directed towards kids and for the kids, but hopefully something that you might enjoy, and myself as well, because I got to do it 90 times this summer. So.
Yeah, right? You sing these songs a lot on repeat. I do. That's the thing about your music that's so great is it's kids' music, but it's not annoying. It's very catchy. So I find myself, I know the words to most of your songs because they're catchy. And then when I saw one of your shows, if I didn't know the song, it didn't take long for me to learn the words. So by the end of the song, I knew the words of the song, and it's just amazing. How much of your songwriting comes directly from your kids or being around kids and being a parent? I mean, you've got a song called "Oh My Back," which I think most parents can relate to.
Well, that one was, I would say a lot of it. I'd say one of the greatest songwriting exercises I do is just to hang out with my kids and not look at my phone. They are an endless source of both inspiration and information. It's not, kids are little adults, but they live in their own worlds like you and I used to when we're small. But it's continually evolving to the point to where you almost forget as an adult what was interesting and funny. I threw my back out. And I remember this was the moment, and I had never done it before. And my apologies if you listen to this song and think I'm poking fun at you. I am a little bit. I'm poking fun at us all. But
every parent can relate.
Yes. What fascinated me was how much my young kids couldn't quite understand what had happened to Dad. I was on the couch all day. There was no cast or bandage involved. And it was a mystery to them, so much that my 12-year-old, who wanted to get, she must have been 9 at the time, wanted to get some ice cream and went to ask Mom. She's like, why is Dad on the couch? I want to get ice cream. Is he faking it? And I said, ooh. So at that moment, I thought, okay, I had a mission. Let's try and write a song to poke fun at Mom and Dad a bit, but also relay some information to the children through a song that my 17-year-old says slaps. So that one came together quite well. It's called Ooh My Back. And
it does slap.
It never fails live. We do an Ooh My Back dance, which I'm sure you're from. Yep,
I know the dance. I know the dance.
And the kids love it. They also, I think you'll know, the same reason why we used to love America's Funniest Home Videos. Imagining Mom and Dad having particular troubles or whatnot is a little bit delightful to them. It's a voyeuristic thing, I suppose, but everyone enjoys it, and that's what's one of the great things about that tune.
In this era right now, when kids are all over YouTube and TikTok and their phones, how do you compete with things like TikTok and YouTube?
We don't. And it's an awesome question. We have a presence on YouTube, and we're very proud of it. I made a conscious decision early on that that's not where I wanted to live. And a lot of people have a lot of success there, and I don't begrudge them that, but we are a live entity, and it's why we do 90 shows. Maybe I won't be able to do that in a handful of years, but I pride myself on getting up in front of people and bringing them together, because as much as I love my phone that's in my pocket right now, and I was playing a game before I came in here, I enjoy hanging out with people, hanging out with you, and being a conduit for that through our appearances and our music is the focus. It's the goal. And there are times when I wish, certain things online were a bit more present for us, because it makes life a bit easier. We're doing just fine.
Yeah. And we do have video of some of the shows that you've been doing. It's cool to see you guys in concert, because you're like a big kid when you're playing, and you get low to the ground. So now I know why your back hurts, and you get engaged with these kids. Have you ever had a moment with a kid in the audience that just made you stop and go, wow? Like just made you laugh, made you...
Oh man, how much time do you have?
Right, I'm sure you've got some stories.
I have so many. One of the things that, I was lucky enough to work for McPhail for a couple of years, where I picked up a lot of skills, and I'm very fond of them. I moved on, and now I run this situation myself, but there is a little bit of method and science to it. As you know, getting down on your knee and getting to a kid's level just changes the dynamic. One, I've also found it easy to do, but engaging and talking with the kids is just endlessly fun. I'm just trying to think of a good one.
I'm sure you've had a kid derail a performance.
Yeah, but what's weird too is like it's kind of like almost being heckled by like a comedian, but it's different because no one's intoxicated or angry. What we've learned is if you just keep it rolling, or if you call them out and you just say redirect, there's all kinds of things. But I've seen so much thrown at me that very little phases me, and if you keep the show moving and you keep it interesting and fun, that kid who, for whatever reason, just ends up joining the party.
You also integrate 2 puppets into the show.
I do.
Bacon and Chompy.
Yes.
Are they the stars of the show? Or you're going to see Bacon and Chompy in some of this video?
Yeah, and that's my eldest daughter downstairs. Oh, there they are, and there's Bacon saying hello. Yeah, that was sort of accidental. When I was first starting out, I was just looking for ways to build what I was doing, and I had a couple puppets at home, so I brought one into the preschool I was working in, and it wasn't shocking, but you can walk into any preschool with a puppet and you're automatically a hero. But building it from there was interesting, because I'm not a puppeteer. I don't aspire to be one. I like to think I've gotten pretty good at it. One of the cool things about working with the age group I do is they talk, as I'm sure you know. I have not found a need to throw my voice, because if I'm looking at the puppet and I'm convinced they're speaking, then they're speaking. So that's what's great about, and I get to sort of be the puppet and the alligator during the show, and they have their own songs. But they are sort of both tag-alongs, and as I'm sure you can notice from a lot of our merch and whatnot, the pig and alligator are very, very popular. The first question I get when I walk into any preschool is, where's Chompy and Bacon?
That's so cute. Kids' music often gets dismissed as simple. But I can't imagine this kind of songwriting is necessarily simple.
Well, yes and no. There's times when I get too clever for my own good. The one thing I always remember is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star will live forever, and there's a reason why.
Yeah, it's simple and
perfect
it's easy
fifths.
to remember.
It's simple, so anytime I'm getting a little too complicated for my own good, I remember. And you know, it's not different for us as adults, but kids react to simple things. They like also being challenged. So it's a mixture of the two, and sometimes it can be a balance. But I'm never afraid to, try to emulate something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and feel like, oh, well, that's too simple. But if the kids react to it, they react to it. Sometimes I need to play it in order to find out.
So when my husband was watching last weekend, he went, "These dads are geniuses."
Oh, that's sweet. Tell them thank you.
Is it your full-time job?
It is. And I was working at McPhail for a while, building it up, and it was a slow burn for about 3-4 years. But I was able to make it my full-time job for the last 6 or 7. The other 2 fellows you saw work with me part-time, but they give of themselves like you wouldn't believe.
And it's fun because I saw your wife and your daughters
Yes.
in the audience. They're your biggest fans. Your wife was singing along to every single song. Your daughters were dancing along, and they're adults. So that was so cute to watch. Your wife's in the Jolly Pops shirt. They're your biggest fans.
Yeah, and they don't come to a lot of shows because they've been to a bunch. But that one was nice because it was a homecoming from the tour. I hadn't seen them in like a week and a half. And so to have the whole family, or all 3 of my daughters, was really special. And my daughter posted on her Instagram a picture of herself at the show. And it said, "My dad has the coolest job ever." And she said, "Hey, did you see that?" And I said, "Honey, did I see it?" I'm like, I don't know how to explain to you as a father just how unbelievably heartwarming something like that is to see and hear. So I'm lucky for a lot of different reasons. I made some of that luck myself, but at the same time, it's just hard not to feel gratitude in that moment.
Wow, yeah, to have your own child say, "I'm proud of you."
And your job is cool. I imagine you get that too. Your job seems pretty cool.
My job is cool, but my kids are like, Mom's on TV.
They'll get older. She's 17, so she's able to make that determination at this point.
Right. They are watching right now, though, because they know that you're on.
What's up? Mr. Billy says hey.
Mr. Billy says hi to Cal and Frankie. They're some of your biggest fans. Is there a song that you never get tired of singing?
Well, it's the one you mentioned, Bad Bad Dinosaur.
The best song.
It's the one we can't get off stage without playing. We have a lot of real popular tunes, but that one, I mean, I could explain it, but I'm also very proud of it as a songwriter. Most of them I just don't get tired of. What's nice too in playing so many gigs and having as big a catalog, there's times when I don't want to play that one today. But Bad Bad Dinosaur is never off the list, and for good reason.
Do you ever get on stage and just feel silly? Ridiculous? I thought about that when I was watching. I'm like,
yeah.
Do these guys ever just feel ridiculous singing to a bunch of 4-year-olds?
It can be a moment where you sort of step back, but I think just sort of the repetitions and the fact that, what I love about this group and even myself in response to that, I feel a tremendous amount of responsibility and professionalism, especially when we go into preschools, which is a lot of the shows that you might not see on our calendar, that the people are putting trust in me. And so therefore, and it's a bunch of children. So I feel, I respond to that by any moment where I might feel a little bit like a circus clown, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with circus clowns. I remember that I'm in charge of a bunch of kids, their well-being and their entertainment, so that kicks in pretty quickly. So I like feeling silly, but it doesn't last very long.
I want to put your tour dates up on the screen here. This is just a small sampling. This is what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Your website, thejollypops.com, is that right?
Yep.
Thejollypops.com has a full list. You guys are everywhere throughout the summer. Does it slow down once school gets started?
Yes, but only a little bit.
And then you also do on-site field trips.
Yes, where we roll into, they call it at a preschool, and preschools love it because as much as they want to go the Crayola experience, which is great, they got to get little kids on a bus. And so therefore, it's not just me, the reptile people, yo-yo guy I know, they hire you to come in. You come into the muscle room or even a big classroom, you set up, and it's a special event for the kids, usually in the morning, and then you take off. So I play probably 100 of those a year, and it's great. I keep, hearing from new preschools. So if there's any preschool out there wondering whether you can
And
get
private
the Jolly Pops.
events too.
Private events. We do churches. We do all kinds of things.
Do you ever look at the metrics on Spotify or YouTube and see
do.
how far you reach? Because I have to imagine, we listen to you on Spotify.
Sure.
I love it when I'm listening to my music and then all of a sudden Bad Bad Dinosaur comes on and the kids aren't even in the car. It's like, oh man. But do you look at those metrics and can you tell how far your reach is?
Yes, and it's broken down by country. I usually check in on it once a week just to see how the songs are trending. You Should Know Bad Bad Dinosaur tops the list, and then usually Popsicles, and then Ooh My Back. I actually looked at it this morning coming off a tour. And the reach is mostly in our region, but it spreads out. And then there's just a list of foreign countries. I don't know if somebody's clicking on it by accident, but...
And your music videos
we got 3 plays in Singapore.
Wow, 3 plays in Singapore.
And
There
a
you
lot
go.
of other places where you go, huh.
Yeah. And your music videos are really creative, so if you want to check out their music videos on YouTube and show your kids, they're super creative, they're super fun and colorful. Let's pop up the summer tour information again because I want everybody to be able to see it. Billy, anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
No, just if this sounds intriguing and inviting to you, come join us. Almost everyone who does seems to get something out of it, and we love seeing a whole bunch of kids and families ready to have some fun.
It's fun for the adults. It's fun for the kids. You guys do such a great job.
Thank you.
Just involving everyone in your shows. Kudos to what you're doing. The songs are so catchy. If you play them on your music platforms, you'll never get them out of your head, but in the best way. Mr. Billy, thanks for joining us. Mr. Billy with the Jolly Pops. You can check out the Jolly Pops, thejollypops.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 All Day. This is my favorite part of the day when we get to talk about what's trending in a segment we like to call, wait, what's happening? As in what's happening across the internet. Sometimes we even find things that are happening across the internet that are happening locally and picking up popularity. This one is just too much. A dog in St. Louis Park got stuck on a roof this week. So the St. Louis Park Fire Department was dispatched to assist with a dog that got stuck on a steep roof. When they arrived, they found Leo standing on top of his house.
Oh, good boy.
Good boy. Once they exited the truck, they were told that Leo's nickname is Houdini for exactly this type of reason. He had gone through a small opening in a window on the rear side of the home and climbed up the roof. They initially tried to retrieve him using ground ladders, but for the safety of Leo and the staff, they deemed it was necessary to use the ladder from the truck. So a happy ending for a mischievous boy. I still don't understand how he got up there, Kara, but
It doesn't make sense, no.
how does a dog climb up on a roof like that? They said he got out through a window and climbed up on the roof, but they call him Houdini for a reason.
Right. I mean, I have a little story to tell. My grandparents' dog got on their roof this winter, and they didn't call the fire department or anything because they didn't realize she was up there. And then all of a sudden, my grandma's in the kitchen looking out the window, and she sees the dog jump off the roof into the snow.
Okay, actually, I think we shared this on the show.
I think
over
I've
the
showed
winter.
you this video.
Okay, I thought they put it on the show.
We put it on Other All Day when this happened, because it was like a day we were like, send videos of your pets in the snow. And I got a text from my grandma that day of like, look what Ruby did today.
Just jumped off the deck straight into the snow.
She jumped off the deck. The Ring camera caught it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we didn't have to call the fire department. Like, this poor guy.
Yeah, I just, so if the people in St. Louis Park want to know where their tax money is going, it's going to Leo.
I think I would be okay with that if I lived in St. Louis Park.
Yeah, no problem. It's
You
fine.
know, it's a little tax money to get the dog off the roof.
It's fine. And yesterday we brought you the news about the couple who had scaled the Empire State Building in order to propose. Well, now the body camera footage is out. The New York City Police Department released the footage showing the arrest of one of the two people who climbed to the top of the Empire State Building yesterday. The footage shows an officer, secured by a harness, thank goodness, climbing up a ladder near the top of the spire where he meets one of the trespassers. The officer is heard saying, "You can't be up here." And she replies, "I don't speak English." Let's take a listen to the audio. Okay, the audio cut out for us. That's probably because I dropped the audio on the second round of the clip, so that's probably why you're not hearing audio now, Kara. I tricked you there.
Okay.
So the girl replies, there's the audio. The girl replies that she can't speak English as the pair is Russian. It doesn't matter if you can speak English or not, you are getting arrested, ma'am.
You trespassed.
You will be going to the New York City jail, and good luck. But
And I wonder what her following count on Instagram went up this week or today.
oh,
It's got to be a lot, right?
I already talked about this yesterday, but it's like this was all a stunt to get more Instagram followers because everybody ran to their social media pages because they were posting from up there. And then the other thing too is they have a documentary on Netflix about how they are this couple in love and they free climb together. And so Netflix last night,
They wasted no time. It was like a few hours later.
Netflix was like, just so you know, this documentary is on our platform. But what I want to know is who in the New York City Police Department decided who was going to climb up there?
I know. Well, I mean, can you imagine you're at work and your boss is like, hey, can you climb up the Empire State Building? Like,
Yeah, I don't think that they like warn you about that possibility when you're in police training.
I don't think that's in my job description.
Yeah, so I have to wonder how that went down. It's like, well, you two are the closest to the station, or because New York City has so many tall buildings, do they have a crew that actually is trained in doing this? I don't know. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw on TV yesterday that it was actually NYPD climbing up there with harnesses on to arrest these people. Right. Just incredible. And by the way, Kara, I saw that these two, they believe that they hid in the Empire State Building overnight.
Yeah. I want to know where they hid, how
In a broom closet, probably.
Yeah. I want to know what the guy who climbed, the free solo guy, I want to know what he has to say about this.
We need to get Free Solo on the line.
Can we
book
call
that?
Free Solo?
Can you book that for our next interview? We need to find out what his take on this is. Is this how he proposed to his wife?
Yes.
I
mean,
know.
I feel like if I were his wife and I wasn't proposed to that way, I'd be like, you need to step it up, man.
Yes, but also like if that's what you do every day, that would be like
True.
that would be like your boyfriend coming here to Fox 9 and proposing to you in the studio here.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
You wouldn't like that.
No.
So I actually don't know if it's a wanted thing.
Right, 'cause it's
Like,
not special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Well, maybe it is special because now they might be in jail.
well, let me tell you.
That's something new.
They have probably made so much money in the last 24 hours due to the social media
Right.
attention and the Netflix documentary that I think that whatever it's going to cost them in lawyers' fees, they're going to say, worth it.
Yeah. I mean, and I hope this doesn't inspire anyone to do anything like this.
Won't inspire me, Kara.
Oh, no, me neither.
I'm good.
out.
Not inspiring me. All right, Kara Savage, thanks for joining me to talk about that. We are going to take a quick break. When we get back, we are going to talk Lynx news with Andrew Dukowitz. We've also got a bunch of other things in the queue, so stay right there. Thanks for joining us. Well, we got to talk to Lynx because there's a lot going on with that team right now. We bring in one of our favorites to talk basketball, Andrew Dukowitz with Zone Coverage. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Yeah, of course. Been a busy Lynx week, to say the least.
Man, I mean, it just doesn't stop. So just in the last couple of hours, we learned that there have been 2 Lynx players named as starters for the WNBA All-Star Game. Fill us in.
Yeah, Olivia Miles makes it as a rookie. She was actually voted by the media as the top vote getter among all point guards, which is pretty incredible considering Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers both play basketball and play as a guard. She gets voted in, and then her teammate Natasha Howard, who is on the receiving end of most of the highlight plays that Olivia Miles has been passing and producing, also made it, which, I mean, 2 starters in the All-Star game, and we haven't even talked about Fee yet. So goes to show where this team is right now.
Yeah, they are just incredible. They're on fire. They own one of the WNBA's best records right now. They're 15-4, if I've got that right. Cheryl Reeves going for an all-time wins record.
Yeah, this Friday in New York, it'll actually be the first time, if Fee plays, it'll be the first time Fee has played in the Barclays Center since their Game 5 championship loss. And you know, asking around the team, everyone said very PR appropriate answers, but you got to assume there'd be a little bit of something special if Cheryl were to take the wins record in New York.
Talk to me about Napheesa Collier. She returned to practice this week. That was some big news. You think she's going to play this Friday?
Yeah, that's my gut feeling. It's, you know, the Lynx, this is kind of how they operate, is there's not a whole lot of news. They keep everything really close to the vest. And then all of a sudden there's, you know, Fee is out practicing full strength with the team. Sounds like she went through all the drills. Everything went fine when she practiced on Wednesday. I assume they did like a shoot around or something today. And I kind of think there's a good chance that she's back on Friday. Now, certainly, you know, if she wakes up that morning and the ankles are a little sore, you probably play it a little safer. But what a game to come back to, right? Cheryl going for the record in New York, just had 2 teammates as all-stars. It'd be a fun story.
Okay, it would be a fun story. Did you think she'd be back by now? I mean, she 2 major ankle surgeries. A lot of people thought that she'd be out for longer. I think recently they said like mid-June or something. Here she is back in July. And then second part of that question, do you think that she was able to take maybe a little more time than she had hoped because the team is playing so well?
Yeah. I'll first say the team has been pretty consistent of just saying, like, the plan for Fee is to take as long as needed to make sure that we're doing right by Fee, which Fee is a 29-year-old back-to-back runner-up MVP. The last thing you'd want to do if you're the Lynx is, you know, cause a future injury or cause something else to go wrong in this recovery process. So the team has been really on message of like, no, we're leaving it up to the doctors, we're leaving it up to the therapists, and what they say is what we're doing. And I tend to believe that, you know, if they weren't in the position they're at as one of the best team in the league, I feel like they still would be extra cautious around Fee, especially, you know, given she is a free agent this offseason. That I think plays some mind of like, we want to make sure we're doing right by her. I honestly think the hardest person this has been on, though, is Fee. Cheryl has called her a couple times the queen of FOMO this season because Fee wants to play, but medical staff, the team, doctors, therapists are all, you know, telling her what the timelines and what the next steps in this recovery process is going to be. I mean, myself personally, I thought she would have been back by now, just again, knowing how Fee has been able to just seemingly superhuman heal over the last couple seasons and just be able to play through things. But it kind of makes sense if the team has been really conscious of, we want this to be an experience for Fee where she is really kind of respected and made sure that she is at the top of mind during all of these conversations. Makes sense to make sure she is 110% ready to go before she comes back.
Yeah, I mean, wow, so much Lynx news to talk about. Let's switch over to the NBA. Mike Conley going to the Boston Celtics. I mean, look, the guy didn't have a great scoring record, but he was good for the locker room. What's your take on this move?
Yeah, this one hurts. Whenever, you know, John Krasinski and Chris Hine couldn't make it to a shoot around and I was the one that was put in charge of picking who he talked to, Mike was always my go-to. It was like, Mike Conley, just get him out here. We can talk about point guard stuff and then it's over. He's also one of the guys that was just always around the locker room, available, wanted to talk to media, really good person. Like, plenty of stories I have of him talking about, you know, having 3 games in 4 nights and then still making it to his kids' hockey practice the next day. Like, It's going to be a weird locker room without him in it. And I think from the guys' perspective of the players that are coming back, a lot of them have really leaned on Mike for everything from relationship advice to financial advice to like, what car should I get? Like, he really was kind of the team dad, as a lot of people joked online. That kind of was the truth of his role behind the scenes. And now they're going to have to figure out how to do things without him. Everything from breaking the huddle to film reviews to just knowing what coverages are coming in a game. It's really a big trust fall for the young guys of Jaden, Ant, now LaMelo being able to do that this season and not need Mike to kind of be that sage in their ear.
Who do you think could step into that leadership role in Connolly's absence?
Yeah, it's, as we're sitting here right now, it's really hard to just pick one person. I think Io has the ability to jump into that role, finished the season here. He's a really smart guy, spends a ton of time watching film. Obviously, Rudy Gobert is still on this team and is still kind of the older statesman on this team now. But everyone else is 26 and under. And the other guy I would kind of point to is Dante, and he's out for most of the season with that Achilles. So I think it's going to be, like I said, just a trust fall of, can Jaden start to do more of these leadership things of being the connector on this team? Can Ant start to be more of the computer system of diagnosing coverages? What's LaMelo going to be like coming into this team? And, I felt a lot better about everything before Mike signed with Boston, but I do think it's an opportunity for these young guys to just grow and prove that they can do some of this stuff without him.
Okay, Andrew Dukowitz, we love talking basketball with you. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
All right. And in other sports news, Kara, do we want to go to that interview now, or should we go to a break and do it after the break? Okay. It sounds like we can get it in now. This is a fun one. You probably saw this video circulating on social media yesterday. It's gone as far as Major League Baseball's social media accounts. Walker Jenkins, he's a AAA outfielder with the St. Paul Saints. They were playing the Buffalo Bisons this week when the Saints star and top Twins prospect noticed a young boy beginning to faint during the national anthem. He quickly jumped into action, catching the boy and carrying him to safety. Absolutely amazing. Walker Jenkins joins us now. Walker, thanks so much for making the time. I know that you're busy with practice and games right now.
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad to be here.
You were back at CHS Field for the first time in nearly 2 months when this all happened, because you were recovering from a shoulder injury. I bet you didn't think this was going to be your first play on the field.
No, most definitely not.
So tell me, how did it all go down? I mean, the boy clearly, he starts to get a little wobbly when you see the video. When did you know that he needed some help?
I mean, Lincoln was out there with me and was just talking to him before the anthem and seemed good to go. It was hot. I've never been in Minnesota weather that's been that hot. And we were kind of, the anthem started and he kind of just started stumbling. I was like, hey, you all right? He didn't respond to me. And so I was just like, hey, like, what's up, dude? And he just didn't respond. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get this kid off the field and get him to someone that knows a lot more than I do.
Well, it was very heroic. You're being called a hero for your actions. I'm sure you know this, but former Twins player Michael Kadire gave you the moniker Captain America when you were drafted back in 2023. And that was because of your work ethic and your skill. But now the internet is saying that that title fits you absolutely perfectly since watching you jump into action. Do you feel like a hero?
No, ma'am. That's any of the guys would have done that. It's one of the things that you're just like, he was standing with me, so I happen to be the one to do it. I'm just thankful he's okay. Everything's all right. I'd like to think, every single guy on this team would have done the exact same thing as me.
Were you able to connect with Lincoln afterwards, or have you been able to connect with Lincoln since that happened?
I haven't really. I've seen some stuff on social media where they've been so complimentary of me and what I've done. But I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, I'm just thankful that those you know, they want to come out and support us and be around the Saints and be around the ball club. Like, I'm just thankful for them. So it's something where they don't have to thank me for anything.
Well, you're very humble. I know that you have a new fan in Lincoln. It looks like he got himself a number 23 jersey. Hopefully we can get him maybe a signed jersey pretty soon.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. Maybe Lincoln can come back for another game. I know that you handed him over to your athletic trainer. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So was that just the first guy you saw, or you were looking for someone who you knew had medical experience?
I was looking for them. I knew those were the guys I wanted to go to. Chase is his name, and I've been working with him for a couple years. And so I was like, where is this guy at? You know, and we're both goofballs and like to have a good time. But I was like, Chase, get your butt over here. It's like, we got something going on. So like I said, I was able to give Lincoln to someone that knew a lot more than I did about stuff. And thankfully he was good to go.
So you went on in that game to go 3 for 5 with a triple, a double, an RBI, all in a day's work, Walker?
I guess so. You know, man, I don't want kids passing out all the time, but I enjoy having good games like that.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. It seems that it did not distract you from what you really came out there to do that day.
It was a little bit at first. I was kind of having to try to reel it back in and lock in. Thankfully, some of the guys told me like he was good to go, which was able to clear my mind and allow me to just go out and play the game. But you know, when you have something like that happen, you're reminded, you know, things are a lot bigger than baseball. You know, a little boy's life is so much more important to this kid's game that I play for a living. So, like I said, I'm thank the Lord he is good to go, and hopefully he's back out on the field and can come back out to a Saints game again.
Amazing. Great perspective, Walker Jenkins. We so appreciate you joining us today.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Such a joy to talk to Walker Jenkins today. He, of course, was the number 5 overall pick in the 2023 MLB draft.
Thank you, ma'am.
And he is
You
one of the Twins' biggest prospects
right
now, and making the rounds on the internet today after his heroic actions last week.
No problem.
We are going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we've got more. Welcome back. Well, roughly 60% of all foodborne illness outbreaks in the United States happen at restaurants. Now, some researchers at the University of Minnesota want to use all the data associated with these outbreaks to maybe find a better solution. Melanie Firestone with the University of Minnesota Public Health Division joins us now. Melanie, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so tell me what you are doing with this data.
Yeah. So when you go out to eat, you want to be able to go out to eat and trust that you are going to be able to eat your meal and enjoy it without getting sick. And we have restaurant inspections as a routine public health function to be able to ensure the safety of our food in restaurants. We know that sometimes things can go wrong with this, however. So when you have a restaurant inspection, typically the inspectors are going to be looking for several key things related to the major risk factors for foodborne illness. So these are things like improper holding temperatures, inadequate cooking time, contaminated equipment or food from unsafe sources, or occasionally poor personal hygiene as well. But one of the things that people don't actually realize is that inspection data are not routinely reviewed in the context of foodborne illness outbreaks. When you have a foodborne illness outbreak, typically what happens if it's an outbreak that's occurring in a restaurant, you'll have an environmental health team who will go out and do what we call an environmental assessment. And this is really a targeted inspection to try to figure out what happened in the context of that particular outbreak, but it's not looking for the same things that you look for in a routine inspection. So what we've been doing at the University of Minnesota is identifying ways that we can better use this data that's routinely collected as part of inspections to understand why foodborne illness outbreaks are happening and to identify better ways to actually prevent them.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see restaurants making that lead to outbreaks?
Yeah, so a really common one is what we call poor personal hygiene. So this could be something like not washing your hands after going to the bathroom. And this might lead to the spreading of diseases if the person who's preparing the food is sick. So that's really quite a common one. We do also see outbreaks that happen with contaminated equipment. Maybe there was an issue with keeping raw foods separate from ready-to-eat foods, so raw foods that need to be cooked, like meat products, or of course, if there's problems with temperature. But we've seen a lot of improvements in recent years with temperature issues in restaurants, and that's largely due to inspections looking for issues related to this.
So you've found through your data collection that restaurants linked to outbreaks almost always have a history, especially of red flag violations. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so there really hasn't been a lot of research in this area, and a lot of the research that has been done has been looking at salmonella. And salmonella can take advantage of all of those 5 major risk factors for foodborne illness that I mentioned. And so a lot of the studies have looked at salmonella so far, and the ones so far have seen that there are often issues related to cross-contamination in the routine inspection that precedes the outbreak. So this tells us that maybe there are some patterns of issues related to cross-contamination or cleaning of food contact surfaces that might be potentially contributing to salmonella transmission in restaurants. And this is something we really want to explore more since there's just really some limited knowledge in this area so far.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of, most of what you're seeing is due to cleanliness or cross-contamination. But is there any part of this where the restaurants are maybe getting food that is contaminated? I mean, how common is that, where it's not really on the restaurant and the workers, but it's on maybe the supplier or even way back to the farm?
Yeah, absolutely. So food from unsafe sources is a major issue in restaurants, and we call it unsafe sources, just meaning that there might be contamination that happened prior to coming into the restaurant. And we've seen this in outbreaks as well. There was an outbreak in Minnesota in 2015 at a chain restaurant, and we saw that there were several cases in certain restaurants and not others. And we actually looked at the inspection data for all of the restaurants who would have received the same potentially contaminated product. And what we saw by looking at the routine restaurant inspections is that for some restaurants, it seemed like there wasn't any sort of increased risk associated with any food handling practices. It was just the contaminated product coming through. But for certain restaurants, looking at the inspection violations, there were patterns of violations that indicated there might have been some increased risk happening in the restaurant from this product that came into the restaurant already contaminated. So it's quite common. When it comes to foods that are served as what we call ready to eat, so things that maybe have are served raw or without cooking, we see that happen more often, where the restaurant might serve as sort of a pass-through for distributing this contaminated product for things like produce, especially that might be served raw.
So based on the data that you've collected, do you feel like the industry or a city, county, whoever the governing bodies are over this, are using these inspection tools to the best of their ability to stop an outbreak before it starts?
Yeah, so there hasn't been a lot of work to do this at sort of what we call the aggregate level, so looking at kind of a whole jurisdiction. But local jurisdictions that are responsible for inspecting food do look at inspections as they go to the next inspection to kind of identify these patterns and some problem areas to work on. But I think there's really an opportunity to do a lot more with this type of work. We're just starting to begin doing that at the University of Minnesota School of Public Health. And there are also researchers that we work with at the University of Helsinki in Finland, actually, that have begun exploring this. So there's really an opportunity to develop more ways that we can use our inspection data to identify how transmission is happening in restaurants and identify more prevention opportunities.
Does it help when a restaurant, for the consumer, has it helped when a restaurant posts their inspection, is required to post their inspection grade publicly? Do you see that that is linked to less outbreaks?
Yeah, so there's not a lot of jurisdictions that have done this. New York City is one that does this. They publicly post their inspection scores so that it's visible before you enter the restaurant. And we did an evaluation of this to see if there was better outcomes after they implemented this policy compared to before they had this policy. And what we saw was that when New York City implemented these letter grades that are posted at the point of service, there was actually a reduction of 5% in salmonella rates that was observed in the city and wasn't matched in the rest of the state, which didn't have a similar policy. So what this tells us is that how we design our inspection policies, especially around public sharing of inspection ratings, has the potential to really improve foodborne illness rates.
Wow. Very interesting. If people want to read the full report, can they get access to that somewhere online?
Absolutely. It's published in the Journal of Emerging Infectious Diseases. And if you search my name, you can find it.
Awesome. Her name is Melanie Firestone with the University of Minnesota. Melanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 all day. We hope you're having a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Thanks for joining us ahead of the holiday weekend. We appreciate you. Let's take a double check of the headlines. Well, the Department of Homeland Security is criticizing Governor Tim Walz after Minnesota's Clemency Review Board granted a pardon to a man convicted of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl back in 2006. DHS says the pardon could complicate efforts to deport the man who was previously slated for removal from the U.S. It is unclear at this time what federal action, if any, will happen next. And a beloved downtown Milwaukee mural honoring Giannis Antetokounmpo is looking like itself again after vandals spray painted it. The three-story artwork was spray painted just days after the Bucks traded the superstar to the Miami Heat. But the mural's original artist returned and fixed it, restoring the fan favorite that has become a gathering place since the superstar was traded. And we've been talking about this a lot this afternoon, but the U.S. is moving on in the World Cup soccer tournament. The U.S. men's national team is going to be playing Belgium on Monday. The Americans pulled it off despite having to play with one less player in the last 30 minutes of the game because one of the players was shown a red card. It's the U.S.'s first World Cup knockout stage victory since 2002, and they'll face Belgium, like I mentioned, in the round 16. Also happening today, Minneapolis leaders are ramping up efforts to crack down on drug-related crime. Earlier today, in a press conference, Mayor Jacob Frey announced expanded drug enforcement, including more targeted investigations and stronger coordination between police and community partners. Let's play a clip from that press conference now.
Become the location of open-air drug markets, where illegal drug use, trafficking, exploitation, and violence have taken place in broad daylight. We've heard from countless residents and businesses that they want change. And so today, we're announcing a coordinated response with social service, with law enforcement, and community partners. And that coordinated response is to deal with and handle and then ultimately end these open-air drug markets. I'm using that phrase very intentionally because it's time that we stop talking about these as homeless encampments. The primary driver here is not homelessness, and it is not a lack of shelter. It is deep addiction and pain. It is traffickers that are preying on people that are vulnerable and making a whole lot of money off of it, and in the process, it is disastrous to community. And so what we're going to do here is provide a choice. You can get services that we will offer, and you can get better. We'll make sure that those services are readily accessible. But if you don't accept those services, you can't continue to hurt our neighborhoods and make our streets less safe. And so the city, in partnership with Metro Transit Police, Park Police, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, and other law enforcement agencies, has begun a proactive enforcement measure along this corridor, and we can also bring it to the rest of the city. So this is an all-hands-on-deck approach that's going to bring together multiple agencies to maintain a persistent presence and a coordinated response. Law enforcement will proactively cite and arrest individuals engaging in illegal activity. That means we will target drug dealers and those exploiting vulnerable people. You just got an example of that on Tuesday. We'll cite those using openly, and if you do so in a way that is making it less safe for kids or a school or a business to operate, you'll get arrested. If these gatherings move, our response will move along with them. We will disrupt illegal activity wherever it occurs. We will have off-ramps at every point: shelter, housing, diversions, citations. We're going to make sure we're offering treatment and care that is culturally sensitive. And so every step of the way, along with enforcement, there's also an off-ramp. We want to make sure people know that it's there. We will also need other criminal justice partners to make sure that accountability doesn't end at the point of an arrest. Releasing people back into the very same cycle isn't helping them or their surrounding communities. This is not about criminalizing addiction. This is about addressing criminal behavior, exploitation, and really dangerous conditions that are harming both the people within these gatherings and the surrounding community. Outreach and enforcement are not competing strategies. They do go hand in hand. Our city and Hennepin County has led the country in moving people from temporary shelter to permanent and/or supportive housing. Unsheltered homelessness continues to decline dramatically. At the start of the summer, there were 239 people in Hennepin County, not just Minneapolis, that were actively working with our outreach teams. Those 239 people are connected, they're known, and are on a path to stability. We've seen an 11% reduction since 2025, a 20% reduction since 2024, and a significantly greater reduction than that since 2020. But what we're seeing here is not unsheltered homelessness alone, and that is not the primary driver. It's about addiction and dealers that are preying on vulnerable people who are addicted. And just this past month, I visited Little Earth, and during that visit, I learned that there were 4 children that had stepped on discarded needles and required HIV prevention treatment. While enforcement efforts increase, our homeless response team will continue to be on the ground daily, offering shelter, offering services and transportation and support. Our mobile medical unit will be meeting people where they are to provide services on site. And our partners at the county will continue to come out and offer shelter and care to anyone who is interested. But after years of intensive outreach, we've reached a point where we cannot simply stand by while illegal activity continues to endanger our neighbors. Our community's members have stepped up. There's been a shift of both the mentality and the response over the last several years, and what we're adding today is a very coordinated response. You will see results, and we're going to be working hand in hand with the incredible partners that are behind us. I want to mostly thank our Native community. Not only have they stepped out and spoken up around a very difficult issue, they've suffered greatly because of the circumstances that they've seen in their neighborhoods and on our streets. And so the fact that they have the courage of their conviction to come out and tell the truth today, the fact that they have the courage of their convictions to demand better for their communities, I think is a huge deal.
Our organization, like many other Native American organizations in this community, has devoted the labor and talents of its incredible staff towards lifting up those who no longer wish to live on the streets. Working collaboratively with our partners, including the City of Minneapolis, Hennepin County, the State of Minnesota, the American Indian OIC has contributed significantly towards reducing the number of unhoused over the decades we have been in operation. What now remains in the wake of our collective efforts is a residual population of homeless that are the very hardest of the hard to serve. These are the folks whose mental health challenges and personal addictions are so deep, so profound, that our usual strategies of interdiction simply are not working. While our various teams continue to recalibrate our strategies and persevere in our work, the unsanctioned gathering spaces where the unsheltered now congregate have steadily devolved into very dark, exceedingly violent, and wholly inhospitable street encampments. Rampant open-air drug use, criminal drug dealing, prostitution, and physical violence, including gun violence, have become increasingly common within these camps on a daily basis, occurring at all hours of the day. As a result, the Minneapolis urban indigenous community now finds itself hostage to these depraved, lawless, and incredibly dangerous encampments. The American Indian OIC firmly believes that we have an obligation to our clients, our students, our staff, and to the wider community as a whole to protect their safety and to ensure the security of our own. Therefore, it is imperative that we continue to work collaboratively towards eliminating these encampments permanently. We believe that our children should be able to come and go to school each day safely, to enjoy a summer day in the neighborhood park without fear of being assaulted or sexually propositioned by those who inhabit or participate in these camps. We believe that our elders have earned the right to enjoy the amenities this city has to offer with their grandchildren, without fear of being brutally attacked or robbed at knife point by strung-out individuals, pimps, or gangbangers. We believe our families have the right to use public transportation, to shop in local stores, and to enjoy their front steps with their families without fear of gunfire or errant bullets, stepping on unused drug needles littered all over the ground, or having to witness human beings repeatedly defecating in the open streets in broad daylight. The urban indigenous community of the Minneapolis city deserves so much better. We are your fellow citizens, we are Minneapolitans, and we want to be able to enjoy our lives in the same way as anyone else in any other neighborhood would want to.
An integrated approach that blends law enforcement with trauma-informed social services to provide continuous engagement and build trust is what is needed, along with working with those that live in our community. This includes those individuals who declined to accept those resources. We cannot leave the rest of our community fearing for their safety. We cannot afford for children to believe that drug dealing and drug abuse is a norm. We cannot accept that. Our children deserve better. Our communities deserve better. We all deserve better. Open-air drug markets will be dealt with. That I can promise you. We will continue to enforce the very laws that are in place to assist us in dismantling the deadly drugs that are harming our community. The impacts of drugs are far-reaching and destructive to all communities. And that's why it will take all of us to combat what we are seeing here right in this very community. My office will continue to work with all our law enforcement and public health partners to find long-term and sustainable solutions. You see, just because you see things get better doesn't mean you're done. It means you still have to be on it so it never starts again.
So this is a bustling neighborhood.
You were just listening to a press conference from earlier today with Minneapolis and Hennepin County leaders talking about how they are going to crack down on drug selling and open-air drug markets in Minneapolis this summer. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we are going to talk to sports director Jim Rich all about the big moves the Minnesota Wild has been making. Yep, we're talking hockey after the break. Welcome back to Fox 9 All Day. I'm Courtney Godfrey. Thanks for joining us ahead of the big 4th of July holiday. If you haven't hit the road yet, looks like you're probably going to hit some traffic. We just talked to Lauren Andrigo a while ago about that. In the meantime, stay right there because we've got more to talk about with you. Sephora, the popular cosmetics store, is rolling out quiet hours at all U.S. stores, joining retailers like Walmart and Target in offering more sensory-friendly shopping experiences. Kara Savage, my producer extraordinaire, joining me now. Kara, have you ever heard of this, these quiet hours?
I've heard of this at other stores. I've never experienced it because it tends to be like during the week at kind of a time that I'm usually not at these stores. So like Sephora's doing it Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to noon.
Yeah, and I guess what it means is there will be lower music volume, reduced activity on digital screens, fewer strong scents to create a calmer environment. So it is for the neurodivergent and sensory sensitive shoppers, including people who living with autism, ADHD, PTSD, or others who just find the traditional retail experience overstimulating.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. You know, it's making shopping inclusive and accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know how you reduce the scents in a store like Sephora.
Yeah, I mean, I like to test out the different perfumes. I mean, you can't really just tell someone they can't.
Well, I just don't know how.
Them, you
I
know?
just don't know how you get rid of that scent. Can we get rid of that pop-up? Maybe not. Kara's going to investigate for us. But Sephora says anyone who prefers a quieter shopping experience can benefit. It was tested before taking this nationwide. A pilot program at 32 stores across 8 markets received overwhelming positive feedback. 90% of customers that they surveyed felt like the quiet hours were more welcoming. Again, this is great, inclusive. You know, it's just unfortunate when any experience is limited to a certain group of people, and certainly we need to be very sensitive to our sensory sensitive shoppers.
And I don't know if anyone's ever been in the Sephora at the Mall of America on a Saturday, but it's not a very enjoyable experience.
Yes, so I'm trying to see, do they say when the quiet hours are going to be? I don't have that in my notes.
It's 10 to noon, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
10 to noon, Tuesdays and Thursdays. They also do this at Walmart and Target. So sensory friendly.
I mean, it's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then in other news, this is a little more local. In other news, Kara, the iconic Ferris wheel from the former Betty Danger's restaurant is for sale. Come on, you know this Ferris wheel, Kara.
Yeah. Yep.
This is a custom-built 65-foot tall Ferris wheel. It can be purchased on its own. It's up for sale. Anybody can buy it. Or it can come along with the former restaurant property that sits in Northeast Minneapolis. So you can either just buy the Ferris wheel alone, or you can buy the whole restaurant.
Yeah. Do you know how much the Ferris wheel's going for?
Please.
I know I think it's around $275,000, and then the restaurant is $3.1 million. So big difference. So maybe you want a Ferris wheel in your yard.
$275,000 to have a backyard Ferris wheel. What's interesting, when we lived in Minneapolis before we had kids, Betty Danger's was such a fun, quirky hangout. It was it's just got a whole quirky feel to it. The owners also own Psycho Susie's, which has since gone out of business. Both really fun, really quirky restaurants. So this Ferris wheel, you were able to take food and drinks on it, and I guess that they had it custom made so that you could have, yes, they had it custom made so that it could, the tables were were able to swivel and had cup holders. And 16 enclosed gondolas are on the Ferris wheel, and it seats up to 64 adults at once. And by the way, it might cost $275,000, Kara, but moving it won't be cheap because it is 60,000 pounds, and it's estimated to cost about $100,000 to dismantle it and reinstall it elsewhere. So, yes, it's $275,000, but you got to add on the moving, and then let's add in the operation fee. Okay, so
I don't even know how much. Like, do you plug it in?
You definitely need some extra power sources. I don't think you can plug this in to your suburban home.
No, for sure not. No.
So there you go.
Yeah, Betty Dangers. That place was iconic. That was like a really cool place to go and take Instagram pictures when I was in high school.
Wow. Okay. Yes. A great place for Instagram pictures. Kara Savage.
There you go.
Well, it'll only cost you about $500,000 if you'd like to have the Instagram background in your yard.
Yes.
I hope somebody buys it and turns it into a new restaurant. There was a taco place there, but it didn't last. It went out of business in February. So sad.
It's a great location. I would go.
It is a great location. You're right. Taylor Swift. I don't know if you've heard. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are very possibly maybe getting married in New York City this weekend.
Well, what a source told US Weekly that all guests were told to be in New York, but they don't know the location yet. So I'm wondering, is this all like are they trying to make us think it's at Madison Square? And it's not.
No, that is a theory, right?
I think it is, but also like Taylor likes to trick us.
Exactly. This is how she operates. I truly believe that this could be a foil. They're really having it somewhere else, but they're doing all this because they knew it's right in the middle of the city. Everybody's going to see it. Everybody's going to start talking. All the cameras are going to go set up there and put their eyes on that. And while they're distracted at Madison Square Garden, they're going to go get married over here.
I know Fox had a reporter out there today. So like people are out there. They're ready to go.
Did you hear that they have donated $26 million in charity ahead of the wedding? So, hey, 20 different charities in the New York City area are going to get about $1 million each.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal. Security is extremely tight. The National Guard has been seen down there. The NYPD is down there. TMZ is live streaming the setup, by the way.
Yes, yeah. They're all in,
Really?
and I love it.
Do we care enough that we need to live stream the setup of a wedding?
I don't care that much. I mean, I get why they're doing it. Part of me is kind of like, all right, let's let the girl get married. But I'm intrigued, so.
What I also liked, because they're trying to keep this so under wraps, did you know that they put special watermarks on everyone's invitation?
Yeah.
So every single invitation has a watermark of their name so that if they took a picture and leaked it to the press, they would know who leaked it.
I mean, Taylor thought of it all. I cannot imagine planning this thing. That sounds horrible.
Who was the security team that she hired for this? Because they thought of everything.
She knows the best.
Oh, yeah. Definitely knows the best. I also saw one of the crews that was unloading stuff off the trucks at Madison Square Garden was wearing a vintage Taylor Swift tour shirt. So,
I love that.
Is this a sign that it's her crew working on this?
She's tricking us.
Or is it a worker who is trolling us all?
I think she's got to be setting us up to be wrong. I really think she's trolling us.
I don't know.
She tricks us all the time. She's always got her Easter eggs.
They claim the wedding is tomorrow. A Friday night wedding? I didn't take her for a Friday night wedding.
I know. You'd think she'd splurge for the Saturday.
I did too, but All right. Kara Savage, thank you so much for talking with me about all of that is circulating on the internet today. Lucky us, because we get to go from that to Jim Rich. Sports director Jim Rich joins us now. I know they got to adjust the camera. Get him in there. No need to go to...
You don't like the wedding? I thought you'd be all over. This is like a royal wedding. This is the closest thing the U.S. has to a royal wedding.
I don't hate it.
You don't sound like you're too excited for this.
There are bigger things happening in the world that I'm paying attention to than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding. I think it's a nice reprieve from all the tough stuff going on.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And I look forward to seeing the photos after. I don't really care about the setup. Like, every day it's a new story. Like, the National Guard was outside. Oh, they put out a red carpet, then they put it away. It's like, guys, give it a rest.
Oh, if you were covering this, you would be all over this. If this was in Minneapolis, you would be on the newsroom assignment desk saying, I'm covering this, I'm breaking this, I'm going to figure out where the wedding is.
Our colleagues had somebody out there. One of our earlier shows had a live Fox reporter right outside Madison Square Garden. So,
absolutely.
Anyway, that's not what we brought you in to talk about.
Thank you.
Your kids are like, haha, Dad, she made you talk about Taylor Swift. The Minnesota Wild, lots of big moves being made. So I think the biggest news today, of course, is that they made a big trade with Calgary.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Jake Middleton, who's been one of the most popular defensemen since he got here, just a good old boy hockey player. He's the kind, does the interviews without his jersey on and just stands there because he goes, it's nothing that I'm trying to do. He says, I just am so hot after I play a period of hockey. He said the first time it happened, I take off all my gear and I just sit there and cool off and drink stuff. And they go, hey, you got to go on TV. And he's like, oh my God, I do? And then they all just said, just go like that. They were all laughing. And so he went out there and it became a thing and it became known as Tarps Off.
Is he going to take it with him to Calgary?
Oh, without a doubt. He's proud of it now. He's proud of that. He's proud of his mustache. And he was a great guy, great locker room guy. But the Wild are in a money pinch again because of the deal they gave Kirill Kaprizov, $136 million. That kicks in this year, so he counts as an average of $17 million this season. And they have to re-sign Quinn Hughes. And Quinn Hughes is supposed to be around $15 million, but there's some rumors out there that he's asking for more than that. And he may want 18 in top Kaprizov. So you would have the two highest paid players in the National Hockey League on the same team. And that leaves nothing for the rest of the squad.
My goodness, if it wasn't for the fanfare around the Hughes brothers, do you think he'd be in the running to make that much money?
Oh yeah, Quinn Hughes is very good. Quinn Hughes changed this entire team. It changed the whole trajectory of the franchise from a middling, maybe we'll make the playoffs, maybe we'll win a round, maybe we won't, to a serious Stanley Cup contender. This guy dominates the rink when he's on the ice. Nobody holds the puck longer than he does. Time on ice, he's out there for over half the game every single night. The kid's amazing. So yes, he is worth the money. He may be worth it more than Kaprizov because of how he dictates what happens on the ice.
Okay, $136 million for Kaprizov. That's a lot for the NHL.
That's over 8 years. Well, he's the highest paid player in the league.
He is.
He gets paid $17 million a season. That was an 8-year, 136. So it divides out to $17 million a season. Wow. And so now you have to get Quinn Hughes signed. And July 1st, you could have done that. Okay, and the Wild didn't do it. Other teams who had people that became eligible for new contract extensions, a lot of them already have announced them. Boom, here's what we came to. Billy Guerin said yesterday that, well, we've had some talks, but we haven't really got into the meat of the matter yet. Well, I think you need to know what that number is, so then you can build around that number. And then you also have the Dylan Larkin situation, where Larkin asked to be traded from Detroit. Yet he has 5 years left on that contract. So Detroit says, well, fine. You want to sit at home? Go ahead. We're not going to just trade you for nothing. So they say Larkin has a full no trade. So he could pick where he wants to go. And one of the three teams he picked, believe it or not, was the Minnesota Wild. Usually players that pick to come here are guys that have a house in Eden Prairie and a boat on Minnetonka. They want to come home. That's what mostly it has been in the past. But here's a free agent, one of the best players in the league. He'd fill a huge hole for the Wild at center, saying he wants to come here. It was either here, Florida, or what was the other team? There was one other team. There's three teams he named.
I mean, no offense, but I'd go to Florida. Sounds a lot warmer.
Well, not right now. It's the same temperature.
Yeah, I guess
Florida
so.
and here.
I guess
so. He's got to figure that out, right? So he makes his trade, gets rid of Middleton's money, brings back Blake Coleman, who makes basically half of what Jake makes, and also brings back another defenseman, Oli Mata. So Oli will take Jake's spot on the second pair. But the Wild also gave up more draft picks. They're like the Timberwolves. They have nothing. They've given them all away.
Oh my gosh.
Between the Quinn Hughes trade and now this one, took care of three more picks. So it's an interesting situation here for Bill Guerin.
So talk to me about these two guys that they got from Calgary. You just brought them up, Blake Coleman and Ollie. I won't even attempt the last name because it looks very Norwegian.
Yes.
Mata. It's less intimidating when you say it. Tell me about these two guys. Good players?
They're veteran players. They've been around the league. Coleman's 34 years old. He's a good two-way center. He can fill one of those top 6 spots because Tarasenko left via free agency. Matt Zuccarello, who was Kaprizov's partner in crime, he left. And that was a decision by Guerin. He said yesterday that we knew we were going to move on from Zuki. We were going to go in a different direction just because the team was good last year, but not good enough. And he's pushing to get them to be a Stanley Cup finalist. Not just win a playoff series, not just win 2. He wants to get a cup here. So he's got to take big swings to do that. And Zuccarello, when the playoffs get tougher, the games get rougher, he's a little guy. And he's 38 years old. And the Kings ended up giving him $6 million. At first, everybody panicked because they saw, they just signed him for $1 million. That's nothing. But he had a clause in that contract. If he plays 10 games, he gets a $5 million bonus.
Come on.
So that makes it a $6 million deal. So then you're like, okay, now I see why they let him go.
If I showed up, Kara, have you lost video here on our stream? I think we got to turn that back on.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. People are just bored of me. They just unplugged it.
Jimmy, they made us go black. Our screens out here are black, but she tells us we're still streaming. So ignore that. We can't see ourselves. We're going to go to a quick break. Jimmy's going to stay with us. We'll keep talking to him after this. Oh, we're back. We're back.
You already pitched your break. There we go.
Welcome back. Sorry about those technical difficulties we're experiencing during the break. That was an unplanned break, Jimmy. You broke the cameras.
Well, this face has a tendency to do that.
Give me a break. Give me a break. You're a legend in the sports broadcasting world up here in Minneapolis. So we were talking about the Wild, big trades that have happened within the franchise. We were talking about Zuccarello. So let's back it up.
Okay.
This was big news out of Minnesota yesterday that he's out. He's going to the LA Kings.
Yep. And he wanted to stay here. Bill Guerin said yesterday when he was talking to the reporters that he decided that he was going to go in a different direction. Like I said, he's trying to build this team into a Stanley Cup winner. not just a team that makes the playoffs. And so he feels that that's a position that needs to be upgraded, because when the playoffs get towards the end, it gets a lot more rough. There's a lot more physical play. He's a little guy. He's not, he's not those guys that can fight in front of the net. He's the one that usually ends up getting pushed out of the way. So Guerin wants tougher guys, higher skilled guys, plus he's 38 years old. Not a lot left in the tank. So Billy did fall on the sword, saying it was his fault that he didn't tell him earlier, but he didn't want to tip his hand to other teams that they were going to let him go. So he said, I should have probably had the conversation with him earlier than I did.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's a business.
Right, and they all get it. I mean, Zuccarello's going to be fine with it. And, you know, $6 million, I'll be okay. I'm in LA, I'm all right.
Yeah, he's in LA. I don't know, though, in LA, $6 million doesn't take you very far. So I had read that the front office with the Wild wanted to break up Zuccarello and Kaprizov, that they wanted Kaprizov to be able to operate on his own, that he had maybe become too dependent on his buddy.
Well, there's no doubt about it that they developed a unique chemistry, and I've been over there at practice, and they'll have availability, right? And so we go in, talk to a couple people, come back out, and still on the rink would be Zuccarello and Kaprizov working on stuff. I mean, they were workaholics. They were always trying to come up with different ways to pass and different moves, and and it worked. I mean, both are dynamic together, and you need that to become exceptional, right? Because you have to know how other people are thinking before they think it, right? That you can anticipate the play, and so there's no doubt that. And also, Zuccarello took Kaprizov in when he first got here to the United States. Lived in his house. He was there when Zuccarello's family had their first baby, and Kirill was one of the first ones to hold the baby. The baby was Kirill. It was Uncle Kirill. He was in the house all the time. I mean, they are best of friends. And it's funny because he's from Norway and the other's from Russia. Usually not a combination you'd expect. So he will be missed around here. And Kaprizov, though, like we talked about before, $17 million. He's got to step it up. He's got to grow up and be the guy.
Lots of big moves with the Wild.
Still looking for Dylan Larkin or Jack Hughes.
Okay.
That will make this work if they get either of those.
Okay, you heard it here. Jim Rich, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you making the time.
Glad I could be here.
It is hot out there, and everybody's wondering what the weather's going to be for the 4th of July. So let's send it out to Erica Mrazek, our meteorologist. Erica, how's it going?
Hey, this is Erica, and we have a look at your forecast. So overall setup, there is a low pressure center towards the south, another one off towards the north and the west. So they're providing some shower storms right now in parts of Iowa as well as the Dakotas. At the moment, it's quite dry and quiet here in the Minnesota area, but just towards the west, that's where you start to see that instability start to build up, and some storms are going to continue to bubble up and move towards the east. But right now, it is almost completely dry here across our state. A couple isolated showers towards the north and the west. No rain here in the metro. It's hot and humid, though, and the heat and humidity can fuel that storm chance throughout your afternoon and evening. So we'll time out the rest of the activity for the remainder of the afternoon into the evening and overnight tonight. During the evening, there is a chance for a couple isolated scattered showers, rumbles to pop up. Some models have it south and east. This latest run now has it not as widespread, more of a quiet pattern. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm watching. And then later tonight, I'm going to be looking at this other system out towards the west. It's going to go eastward into western and central Minnesota and move across the state towards the east. This could contain some stronger storms to severe storms. So all throughout the evening, overnight, there is the potential for some severe weather. Overall, that potential is going to be greatest towards the south and the west through today, tonight, and then by Friday, expect a drier afternoon before perhaps another round late Friday. So for severe risk, level 3 out of 5 towards the western and southern part of the state, level 2 for the metro, and then up north, once you start to get to around cabin country, level 1 risk. A wide time frame here, that's to cover all of the different areas and different rounds that I'm looking at. So pretty active pattern, just stay skyware for the rest of today and tonight. At the moment now, it's pretty quiet, 80 degrees, humid, feeling a little bit tropical. It's going to stay unsettled into the weekend. Chance for a few showers to pop up into tomorrow night, Saturday morning. And humid for your 4th of July. Humidity drops a little bit on Sunday, and next week stays warm, Courtney. So a pretty warm 7-day forecast. High temperatures will be in the 80s for the next couple of days. Courtney.
All right. Thanks so much, Erica. Appreciate you. And that'll do it for our show today. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be back again starting at 2. All Day starts streaming at 11. We'll see you then.